Man, how y'all doing today? Welcome back to Faith Speaks. I just got a quick message for you. I'm sitting here reading First Thessalonians and the fifth chapter of it. There's about 5 to 6 verses that kind of stood out to me, but one of them for certain said, "Don't quench the Holy Spirit, or quench not the Holy Spirit." Excuse me. And man, just a visual popped in my mind as far as, a lot of times we may say, or you may hear someone say, "I can't hear the Holy Spirit," or "trying to hear him more," or "I used to hear him and now I feel like I can't really hear him." And I feel like that verse just it stands out so much when it comes to that. As far as hearing the Holy Spirit, or maybe I was hearing him and now I can't. And I think about it with a metaphor or example of a fire. Say you're out in the forest and you have a fire, right? Say it's cold outside. So you get that fire going and it's burning and you're feeling good, you're feeling warm. You're like, okay, I'm feeling warm now. I can stay by the fire. I'm feeling warm. And let's say the Holy Spirit is that fire. Now the fire is going to continue to get smaller and smaller over time if you're not tending to it, you're not putting more wood into it, right? So let's say every time the Holy Spirit is saying, "Hey, do this or do that," that's the opportunity for the fire to get bigger or for the fire to get smaller. And let's say the less we feel the heat of that fire is the less that we're actually hearing the Holy Spirit. And the more that we feel the heat from that fire and we're being warmed by it, is the more clarity we have as far as hearing the Holy Spirit. So if we paint it like that, and let's say every time the Holy Spirit is saying, "Hey, do this," or "Hey, go this way," or "Hey, make this choice instead of that one," we have the choice to either put the wood that's in our hand into the fire and make it grow a little bigger, so we feel that warmth a little bit more, feel his presence a little bit more, hear the Holy Spirit a little bit more. Or we have the chance to have that wood in our hand and we say, "No, I'm not going to do that." And I go ahead and I just put the wood on the ground, or I throw it somewhere else, or I put it in my pocket. And I say, "I'm going to just save that for later." And now that fire is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So now when we put it into that perspective, it can be a little more straightforward to us as how we may not hear the Holy Spirit as much as we once did. Because sometimes we start making choices that aren't in alignment with God, or when the Holy Spirit is telling us to go a certain way or to do a certain thing or not to do a certain thing, we're taking it within our own hands and saying, "I'll just put that wood in my pocket right now." And then later on we're saying, "It's cold out here, God. Where's the fire at? Like, we had a fire going a little while ago and now there's no fire. What's happening? Like, what's going on?" And say, I'm freezing out here." And God is saying, "I gave you the Holy Spirit. He called for you to put some fire. I even gave you what you needed. I gave you wood to put into the fire to keep it going. But instead of doing that, you try to do it your way. You said, I'm going to keep this for later because maybe I'll need that." But God said, "I told you to put it in. I gave you the Holy Spirit who led you to put it in," and you said, "But I might need it later." And God's saying, "I provided for you all that you need, whether it's right now or later. Don't try to hold on to the provision that I've given you, hoping that it's going to save you for later. No, use the provision I've given you at the time that I've led you to use it, and trust that later you're going to have more. There's going to be what you need later when you get there." So I hope this is an encouragement to someone. I know it was an encouragement to me. Like I said, just a quick word that was just speaking to me as I was reading here in First Thessalonians, man. And I pray not just for y'all, but even for myself, because there's times where I do the same thing and I'm like, man, I feel like I can kind of hear you, God, but I don't know if that's you. I don't know if that's, and I know that, yes, not every time it's from us. Well, it's not all the time that we're not listening or taking action on the things that the Holy Spirit is telling us to do. So that's not always what the case is when we can't hear from God. Sometimes he's just testing us to see if we're going to stay in it, if we're going to keep our faith in him, if our trust in him is going to grow more in those moments where we can't really hear him, where we don't really know, are we going to trust that he still has us? So there are different times where it's not necessarily from the decisions we've made, but I wanted to encourage someone and let you know that, hey man, sometimes it is from that. But the good thing is that his grace is abundant, overflowing. So even if you've made those choices that have kind of dampened that fire of the Holy Spirit within you, he's still giving you wood in your pocket to put back into that fire. So trust him, go to him and let him know, hey God, I'm sorry that I've quenched the Holy Spirit, that I haven't taken heed to your direction all the time. And I just ask that you would forgive me for it. I ask that you would renew my heart, renew my mind, renew my vision, renew my hearing to have more clarity when the Holy Spirit is speaking to me, and give me a desire to do your will. That when you lead me, I may step. When you tell me to hold on, I'll wait. So I pray this was an encouragement, man. Let God lead you. I'll catch y'all in the next one.